Welcome to KIRSTIcast, the show where we hope to illuminate, entertain, and engage our listeners, helping them create the life they want. I'm your host, Kirsti Manna. Hi, everybody, and welcome to KIRSTIcast. Thanks so much for being here today. Well, I started Songwriter Girl years ago because I wanted to inspire girls and women to inspire each other. I wanted girls and women to learn about songwriting and about being confident. So confident that they would find no reason to be catty to their fellow sisters, but to talk to each other about each other's successes in a really positive way. Not envious, not cutting, but find the joy in being a promotivator, not just for themselves, but for each other. Well, I didn't come up with that amazing word, promotivator, but I wish I did. Because as a songwriter, I've always loved making up words to fit the feeling of a lyric. So the word promotivator is right up my alley. Promotivator. Not a word we hear too much, but I wish we heard more of it. And there's actually companies out there that help their clients get motivated to achieve lifelong success. But you don't have to be part of a branding company to be a professional promotivator. You can be an angel promotivator. You can promotivate every day, and here's how and why. In the everyday journey of life, without even trying, you are promoting yourself by promoting others. It all begins with the process of building strong relationships and building them by shining the spotlight on someone else, not just yourself. Something to think about. Promoting yourself, you say? Yes. That's right, because encouragement goes straight to somebody's heart, including your own. When you read a social media post that inspires you, do you like or share it or comment or repost? Congratulating people on their successes and victories in life not only is a great boost to your own positivity, but it starts to build a relationship with the person posting and with those who follow them. So, what if you're not a social media maven? Think of ways you can shine the spotlight on someone in your group of friends. How do you like to be supported? Maybe to be told you're doing a good job, or for someone to refer you to a fantastic opportunity that's right up your alley. And tell others if and how they've encouraged you. What a beautiful way to pass on the double gift of positivity to someone. Use social media platforms for good and find ways to be a leader. A creativity sparker who inspires others to pay it forward. Someone who's making the time to promotivate others. And at the same time, don't be surprised if you get promotivated in return. Stick around. We'll be right back for the Shero Spotlight. Stay tuned for the Shero Spotlight. Welcome back to the Shero Spotlight, and I'm really excited to introduce you to this next guest. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is the host of a video blog, Up and Country, and she was just telling me that she loves to interview up-and-coming country artists. So if you're an up-and-country artist out there, remember that, because you're going to want to talk to this most energetic person. I just love her personality. She's been a long-time on-air country radio personality. In addition to being a radio voice for country music for nearly 18 years, she's a marketing entrepreneur and a best-selling author. She has emceed for a number of charity events and also has interviewed country artists such as Vince Gill, Jon Pardi, Darius Rucker, and new artists such as Caitlin Smith, Callista Clark, and girls and boys just like that on her Up and Country show. She's committed to promoting country artists and retaining dynamic multimedia content for radio, and she's currently writing a book called The Power of Country. Please welcome Sue Bonzell. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to meet you and chat with you today.
It's nice to meet you too. I always love to meet somebody who's, just like only an inch taller than me.
No, right, exactly. I know. We have good pictures.
I know, exactly. See, that's what's always so weird, you get in a picture with somebody really tall, you look like you're a kindergartner,
Yeah, I know, exactly.
That's what I always think. So, how did you get started in country radio?
It was completely unplanned.
Oh, okay.
completely by accident. I had a company where I was doing some events promotion. I had gone into the local radio station. This is back in California. And went in there to do some promotions. And I said, I would love to get on the air and talk about, all the fun upcoming events that are happening in our area. And so the main guy said, well, okay, we'll get you on. Why don't you come in and, give it a try. And if it sounds good, we'll have you come back. And if you suck, we won't. That's literally his words. I swear. I said, okay, well, let's give it a try. I went in, got on the air, talked about all the things. And he said on the air, will you be back next week? And I said, yes, I will. And so that kind of started. I started doing that, just promoting my business, that way. They liked me and said, we want to train you to do radio. Would you like to do some radio? And I said, yeah, because I'm a talker. So I said, okay. So they trained me. I started doing some live radio on the AC station that they had. That's kind of where I started, in it. Sunday afternoon when nobody's listening to the radio, and so I could mess up and push the wrong buttons and figure out how to do all the things.
I never thought about that, but you do have to kind of run the show there, the tech show.
It can be stressful. I mean, when I first started, it was very stressful. And then not too long after that, they started a country radio station. The group had started, and they said, hey, we're doing a country station. And I said, I have to be on the station. Please let me be on the station. The manager and the owner were like, nah, you don't have the chops. You haven't been here long enough. I don't think so. Thankfully, I had somebody in my corner who helped me do a little demo, pushed me a little bit, and they said, okay, we'll give it a try. And I've been with that same station since the beginning, which was 15 years ago.
Wow.
Something like that. And so it's flipped a couple of times. They started as more of a classic country, and then flipped to the new country format. Now they've flipped back again. We're back to country legends, which I love because that's all the music I grew up with.
Yes.
So I'm still there, and I'm able to do it remotely.
That's great.
Due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Got me all set up at home, so I'm doing everything from home. And I added another station in the Cayman Islands.
Wow.
So I'm on 2 country radio stations, and I love it.
Is there's a big audience for country music at the Cayman Islands? Really?
Yes, it's the Heritage Country radio station there, so it's the main one. They've been the only one for 20 years. And so they have a pretty big following, and I'm the morning show host, and it's fantastic. I love it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Now, what do you notice is different between country music in Nashville as opposed to country music in California?
Well, the nightlife. Oh, the nightlife. I'm from Northern California, a small town in Northern California, about an hour north of San Francisco, and there's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
Just in general. There's no nightclubs. There's not a lot of live music. There's a little bit. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of country music. And when I came here, I was completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to deal with my FOMO, my fear of missing out. Because I'd be like, oh, look at the calendar. Oh, so-and-so is going to be in town, and so-and-so is going to be in town, and so-and-so is doing a songwriter round, and then this, and then this, and I said, no, you can't go to everything.
Yeah.
You got to cool your jets, girl. Hang back. You can't go to everything. And I've had an opportunity to go to lots of different things and be backstage and those types of things. So I just kind of sit back now, and I have plenty of entertainment in my life. So yes, that's a big difference here.
Well, I think what's so funny about Nashville is you'll want to go see one person, and then it never fails. There's 5 other things you want to do the same night.
Exactly.
That goes on a lot here.
Yes.
So what organizations have you got involved with through radio here in Nashville? What organizations are you into?
So Musicians on Call.
You were telling me about that. Let's talk about that.
Most recently, I love their mission. They're bringing music to patients in hospitals and veterans. They're bringing in, not just musicians. They're bringing in famous musicians. Darius Rucker was just honored at their Millions of Moments event a couple weeks ago. And he was a big part of, very, very involved. He has gone to the hospitals. He's performed. Right. All of these, well-known people that Jon Pardi, he was there to, perform that night at the event as well. And he's been part of Musicians on Call. I love their mission. And so, yeah, that's one I can get behind.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. So they have a yearly event, or they have events monthly, or what do they do?
So this particular one, since they started, they had served their millionth client, if you will.
Wow.
So 1 million people served with what they're doing. And there's that healing power of country music. And they're, bringing them in, and they had served their millionth. And so they celebrated, and that was their millions of moments was their event. So this was kind of a one-time. I'm sure they'll do one at the second million.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So
that is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So what's one of your most favorite people that you've ever interviewed, country music artists that you've ever interviewed?
It's hard to say. I mean, a lot of them are the new up-and-coming country artists. A lot of people maybe you wouldn't know their names. Some of them I've made friends with, like kind of hang out with them. I will say, I did have a chance, and we chatted about this earlier, John Schneider. He is so much fun. And I think the actors who are also musicians are great. Yeah. We even talked about, Charles Eston from Nashville and Outer Banks. Just such a charismatic guy.
Yeah.
And so easy to interview.
Yeah.
And just fun and just the energy. John Schneider has that too. And it's like, I just like the energy.
I just think sometimes actors, because as an actor, they have to listen when they're in scenes. And so I think there's something about them with timing and listening. And I also think it's so cool how so many actors, and now in the case of Charles Eston, I think he was an actor before he became a recording artist, and John Schneider's the other way around maybe. But I think it's so interesting how there's so many actors that are great singers. Did you have a chance yet to see the George and Tammy series?
And I'm sad to say I have not seen it yet. It is on my list.
Oh, you'll love it.
But I'm hearing wonderful things about
it. You'll
Yeah.
love it because you said that you like old country, so you'll really enjoy it.
Yep, it is on the list for sure.
That's so great. So who's a new female? I always like to talk to women about other women and who they are inspired by. What female artist are you really into right now? Who you like?
So I've got one song on replay on my lists and in my head, and it's been weeks. Megan Maroney.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tennessee Orange. She's in the top 100 right now, moving up the chart, and I've kind of got my eye on her.
Yeah.
I love the song. It is so catchy. I'm like, it's just stuck in my brain. And I just sing it over and over and over again.
It is really catchy. Well, and she's kind of got an interesting backstory. Somebody told me that she was an accountant or something like that.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in country music.
I'm sick of counting numbers. Right. I'm going to start singing.
Singing sounds so much more fun.
Yeah.
So she's kind of my new, I'm not super familiar with a lot of her music, but that particular song, like I said, kind of on replay in my head.
Yeah.
But, I got to say, Lainey Wilson.
Oh.
I mean, she's just absolutely killing it right now.
I love her music.
And I love her music. I love who she is.
Yes.
And one of the other things I really love about Lainey Wilson is when Lainey first started and had her first single out, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Mm. My daughter, who's 23 now, back then, she came to me and she said, "Mom, do you know who Lainey Wilson is?" And I said, "No, I've never heard of her." She goes, "She's really good, Mom. Like, I really like her. She's my new favorite country artist right now." And I was like, I have no idea who this Lainey Wilson gal is, right?
Yeah.
And I listened to one of her songs, and I was like, oh, she is really good. And then sure enough, it's like boom, 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 and now she's
sitting in the hot seat. Well, and her vibe, her authenticity is so refreshing. And I'll tell you, I've heard her say in interviews, I've been in Nashville 10 or 11 years. Yeah. I can't believe I never met her because her personality is so big. I thought, where was I? Where have I been that I have never met this girl, And
the thing I love about her too, because I was just doing some research for another project and I was looking at styles in country music. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the men have a certain style, it's Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, you've got all the different things. There was Glenn Campbell, the Rhinestone Cowboy. They kind of had their things. Yeah. Not very many women have like a thing.
It's true.
Lainey Wilson has a thing.
Oh, she really has a thing.
Oh yes, she's got her bell bottoms and that hat. Yeah. The brim. I mean, she has got a look. It's iconic. Nobody else can take that from her.
Yeah, and the vibe. The vibe is just she's so unique. I love it. So I always ask my guests this question, or ask them to do this, is to tell me a stay-inspired story. And that's a story, it could be about anything in your life, just something that's really inspired you, that's really stuck with you.
I don't know that there's necessarily one story. When I think about being inspired, I think about, and a lot of this has happened in the last year, being here now in Nashville and moving across the country, is the ups and downs in life.
Yeah.
And when you're in that low and you're in that dip that inevitably comes, right? It's the highs and the lows. I'm like, how do I stay inspired? And it's a matter of knowing that that high is coming. Like something better is coming.
Yeah.
Like I know this sucks right now, or whatever you're doing, or I'm challenged, or, I've got a dip, or it's a real, real low.
Yeah.
Just knowing and remembering, okay, it's all gonna get better. Like something better is coming. Everything's gonna be better. There's gonna be more opportunities. So I think that's kind of more how I stay inspired, is to try to remind myself, what they both feel like.
Yeah.
And it'll come around again.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I like that a lot. Yeah, because I think so many times, and especially for artists, it's really hard to be in a town like Nashville where they're looking over their shoulder and they're watching everybody else, and everybody else is talking about what they've done. And Nashville, is really kind of in a bubble sometimes to me in that sense, and you have to remember, why you're put on earth with your talent, your gifts, that kind of thing, and to be able to not look at the obstacles, and get caught up in being depressed on why you're not number one this week or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's hard in this business too, is you're always comparing yourself.
Yes.
Am I better? Are they better? What am I doing? What are they doing?
Yes.
All the things. And you can get really caught up in that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of reminding yourself, I'm just me.
Yeah.
I've got my talents. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And I know that next big thing it's right around the corner.
I think that female artists have more, as far as I know, I think they have more of a problem with that than male artists, you know, because they're so much more worried about what they look like, than male artists. So I think they have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, we see those, those young male artists walking out on stage wearing all kinds of god-awful things, and they just think they're it, right? And you're like, the ladies are like, oh my gosh, I got to fix my makeup, my thing.
I've got to have the right shoes and everything. Right. Exactly, I know. I
I
don't understand what is going on with some of these male artists, why they cannot wear nicer clothes. It really bugs me. I'm not kidding.
They might need a coach.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, and it's just like, I worked with an artist. We did a lot of shows with Marty Stewart. And Marty Stewart, they had, he was the kind of artist that was a certain way his band dressed.
Yes,
and that he dressed. And he always wore light jeans and a dark jacket, and they wore all black. And it really was cool because, it really looked like, something really cool is going to happen up there. And I like that.
Yeah.
So any of you male artists listening out there, listen to what we were saying because we know exactly what we're talking about.
We do.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your power word? Because you seem like a person who has a few.
That's funny. It's confidence.
Oh, good.
And not because I feel like I have a bunch of it. I feel like I do have confidence, but then there's many times, especially like I said, coming out here, to Nashville, it's a very tight-knit industry and everybody knows everybody. And I've walked into rooms where I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? Woo, take a deep breath and find that confidence,
it's
girl.
It's like going into church.
I mean, this, like I said, everybody knows everybody and I know no one. Yeah. So it's like, I just gotta, okay, let's put on that confidence and let's go and be confident in who I am, my gifts, my skills, what I'm bringing, and just being confident. And that can be hard sometimes. Yeah. It can be hard.
What do you feel like is one of your greatest gifts?
Oh gosh. Well, talking is one, which is why I get paid to talk on radio. I always say that. That would be one. I connect with people. I really think I connect with people, and I like to help people. Yeah. I'm a helping, giving to a fault kind of person where it's like, here, let me help you. Yeah. Let me be of assistance. I have things I can share. And so I think that's, and I like doing that. And I want other people to be successful, which is another reason why I do the show. Yeah. It's one more way I can help artists, right, to get a little more exposure. If I can do a little bit to help them get another leg up, that makes me really, really happy.
Well, and you never know who's listening that day. Back in the day when the Nashville Network was on, do you remember the Nashville Network?
Yes.
And they would have those shows on that, like, what was it, Nashville Now, I think, with Ralph Emery. And I was on there a couple of times with an artist I worked with. But it was such a great place for young artists to go. And it's tough for young artists now because they're not there are not a lot of places for them to really get FaceTime.
Yeah. It's hard because, and I've maybe struggled a little bit with this too with my show, where people go, well, why do I want to watch that? Because they're people I don't know.
Right.
So there's a struggle with that.
And that's the whole point of the show.
And that's the whole point. Exactly. It's like, no, you want to watch it because keep an eye on these people, because in a couple years,
right.
I interviewed Nate Smith last year.
Yeah.
He's a number one. I mean, he's a great guy, super sweet guy, super talented. And
I love that song he has out.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
It's so pretty.
Whiskey on You. It is good.
It's really, really good. I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm so glad that you do that for artists. When I was first starting to do my Songwriter Girl events, I really wanted to connect with girls and women in the sense of, trying to help them with their confidence, because I think that is like one of the number one things, that you really need to possess and have a handle on, no matter what you're doing in life, but especially in the music business, because there's so much sabotage that can go on, and it's so much that you're not even in control of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I always ask my guests to finish this sentence. What are you grateful for today?
There's a lot of things I'm grateful for. I think just being in Tennessee and having the opportunities that have presented themselves, and this will take a little bit of a detour. I am getting baptized.
Wow.
In a couple weeks, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh,
and,
that's wonderful.
The things, I don't think that I would have gotten to that place as quickly as I did if I hadn't moved here.
Wow.
So there's some things that kind of were put in my path that put me there, and I'm thrilled about it. So I'm grateful for that.
That's great. Well, Jesus was obviously put in your path.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've been chasing him. He's been chasing me. It's been like, woo!
Well, this is the Jesus state and the Jesus city. I'm telling you. If you I've known people that have moved here that, say that they are not really into faith or whatever. And now I see them saying on Instagram, I'll pray for you. I thought, okay, we got to you.
That's good.
We convicted you.
It is all good. It is all good stuff. It is, there's nothing negative about it, whether you choose to believe or you don't, or it's not your thing. That's okay too.
Yeah.
It's just positive as far as I see it. It's positive.
That's really great. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
That's really, really cool. Well, I'm glad you shared that.
Thank you.
That is one of the most unique things anybody's ever shared with me in an interview. I really mean that.
Oh, good.
I love that. I think that's great. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's really been nice to meet you and talk to you. I've heard so much about you from my friend Wynn, and you just have so much personality, and you're so fun to talk to. So I hope we get to hang out again soon.
Absolutely, we will, for sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Everybody stick around. We're going to be right back.
You're my hero, more than a hero, and I look up to you every single day. Every day, my celebration, my inspiration is to be like you, but in my own way. You're my hero, more than a hero.
I've spent years of self-discovery learning how to live a successful creative life. That's why I created my course, Spark Your Creativity, the Steps to a Successful Creative Journey, to help others discover their own potential. Your creative journey never ends. So why not invest in yourself and sign up for my course today at Kirsti.com. See you on the journey. Hey everyone, thanks so much for sticking around for KIRSTIcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope we're going to see you next time. And don't forget to like, listen, download, and share this episode. And don't forget to watch it on YouTube. Also, if you're interested in being a guest or you know someone who would like to be a guest on KIRSTIcast, you can email me at info@songwritergirl.com. Don't forget to check out my guest Sue Bonzell's socials, and don't forget to check out her video blog, Up in Country, where you're going to see some really cool guests like me and lots of other people who are big-time up-and-comers in country music. Hope I'm going to see you next time, and whatever you do, stay inspired. You've been listening to KIRSTIcast.